Aaron's Aquarium, sponsored by Aquarium Cabinet Solutions, Marine 23, and Corals Direct.
How's it going, guys, and welcome to another Aaron's Aquarium video. In today's video we're going to be talking about sumps versus canister filters. Now don't forget, guys, if you're not already subscribed to the Aaron's Aquarium channel, hit that subscribe button now so you are subscribed to all of the future videos from Aaron's Aquarium. Now, what should you choose? Should you go for a sump or should you go for a canister filter? Now, normally, which one you go for is heavily influenced by the person or persons that you decide you would like to mentor you. You may have a friend that is already in the hobby and you want to sort of like do things what they do because they're doing really well. So if they're doing well, you want to copy what they do. You may also see somebody on YouTube or on Facebook or on the forums and think to yourself, I really like the way that their setup is. And if I set my setup the same as theirs, then that means I will have something just like them. Now, every tank's different, you know, every setup is different, and sometimes you can do something the way one person's doing and you won't have the same outcome. Today's video is basically to give you a bit of knowledge on sumps and canister filters so that you can then go away and make an educated decision whether you're going to be going for one or the other. So let's start off with canister filters. Now, canister filters tend to get a bit of a bad rap, especially in the saltwater world. But they shouldn't do really, because canister filters are a very efficient way of filtering your aquarium water. That's what they've been designed for. That's what canister filters are specifically designed to do. Now, there is a few things that go around about them, one of them being they're a nitrate factory, but we'll get onto that in a minute. Now, a canister filter can be used in various different ways. You can use it as solely as a mechanical filtration. Mechanical filtration is basically where you put things that are going to, physically take particles and bits of waste out of the water by, via like sponges. You have like some filters put in like little chopped up bits of plastic pipe and, various different things like that. What happens is any bits of like food or fish poo or just particles in the water have to sort of like pass through these sponges and these little bits of things, and these sponges then trap the pieces of fish poo and food, etc., for you to then take out the sponges, give them a clean, and then you've taken out that waste. Now, other people also use them as like more biological filters. Now, they work in the same sort of way. You have a bit of mechanical filtration at the beginning, so where the water starts passing through your media baskets, you have some mechanical filtration, so that catches, again, fish poo, food, just particles in the water. And then after that, they have quite a lot of biological media. Now, biological media is things like, ceramic rings, bio balls, Biohome Media, Exodus by Brightwell, things like that. Basically what it is, it's a very porous surface area for bacteria to live in. It's imagine like just a block of flats with loads of people in. That's what these sort of like media balls, pellets, whatever you want to use, are basically like. Little bits of bacteria lives in this media, and this bacteria feeds on ammonia. There's other bits of bacteria in there also that feeds on nitrite, and there's other, but not many, bits of bacteria in there that feeds on nitrate. And they're basically doing the biological filtration for your tank. So mechanical is when it's taking physical things out of the water. Biological is where it's taking, the things that are sort of like the chemistry of the water. Ammonia, nitrite, nitrate. That is basically your nitrogen cycle. So, so you've got a few different options. Some people also use canister filters as sort of like makeshift reactors. Now, what they do, again, they'll have a little bit of mechanical filtration in the bottom or the top, depending on which way the water sort of like passes through the canister filter. And then they'll have things in there like carbon. They'll have things like, you know, phosphate removers, nitrate removers, things like that, to, you know, to help with the removal of, you know, nitrates, phosphates, etc. So there's various different ways of setting up a canister filter and using. Now let's get on to the little stigma that is behind canister filters, which is they are nitrate factories. Now, in a way, that is sort of true, but that isn't the fault of the canister filter. That is the fault of the likes of me and you, who basically, you know, provide poor husbandry. Now, the canister filter is very efficient at what it does. It will remove waste as fast as it possibly can. But if you do not clean all of that stuff that it's collected out and remove it, what will happen is that waste will eventually become ammonia, which means you'll have loads of bacteria working on that ammonia to break it down to nitrite. Then you'll have loads of bacteria again to break it down from nitrite to nitrate. And then because most of our systems don't have enough surfaces in the tank to cater for anaerobic bacteria, which consumes nitrates, basically anaerobic bacteria needs to live in an area very, very low of oxygen. And now there's not many places in an aquarium that provides that. So what happens is the nitrates start to build up. So obviously, if you're not cleaning out your canister filter and performing your husbandry, the ammonia will build up, but you know, your bacteria will keep on top of that and handle that for you. But the end product of that is going to be nitrate. So, you know, it's down to you to perform maintenance on your canister filter regularly. You know, you want to be doing it at least once a week. Make sure that everything's, you know, clean and tidy inside the canister filter. Even more if you can do it every other day, wicked, because that will make sure that the nitrates produced is a lot less, because you're exporting the waste, the excess fish food, etc. You're taking it out of your tank before it has chance to break down and become ammonia. So, you know, so canister filters, as you can tell, are very efficient. Now, the only downside to canister filters is they are not very flexible. They do what they do, but not much else. Now, that leads us on to sumps. Now, sumps are basically the same thing as a canister filter. Now, normally the way a sump's laid out is water will enter one side, pass through various different stages of filtration, and then leave from the other side. Now that is just basically the same as a canister filter, whereas the canister filter, rather than the water going from left to right, it goes from bottom to top. Same thing. Now, the only real difference between a canister filter and a sump is the flexibility that a sump provides. Now, a sump you can customize to what you want it to do. You know, you can position the baffles in the sump to what you want in there. So if you're going to be putting a skimmer in there, you can add a skimmer chamber. If you're going to be putting the heaters for your aquarium in there, you can, you know, make a space for that, etc., etc. Now, again, you know, if you're running reactors and things like that, everything can go out in the sump, so that when you're looking at your display tank, the only thing you see is what you want in there. Things like, you know, plants, corals, your fish, etc. Now, the only real thing in a saltwater tank that's going to be in a saltwater tank is the wave makers, because, you know, in saltwater tanks we need those. So really, you know, sumps and canister filters are very, very similar. They just get that added flexibility from a sump. Now, setting up one or the other, you know, can very heavily depend on also what you have available to you. You may have bought a second-hand tank that isn't drilled. It doesn't have any holes drilled into it, so it's quite difficult to be able to put pipes from your tank into your sump. So that would mean that you more or less have to go down the canister filter route. You can do DIY overflows, you can buy weir boxes that sort of like hang over the back of tanks and things like that, so you can connect a sump up. But, you know, some people just decide that's a little bit too much work than they want to do, so they go down the canister filter route. So guys, as you can see, the differences between canister filters and sumps is very marginal indeed. Now, With a canister filter, like I said, they're not as flexible as a sump, but they still can be used in very, different ways. You could even run a couple of canister filters where one is like a mechanical filter, one is a biological, or, you can run one as a makeshift reactor, which has got things like nitrate medias, phosphate medias, carbons, etc. Now, the great thing about a sump, obviously, it means you can just put one sump underneath your tank and just put in everything that you want to put on your system. Nice and easy, no messing, just nice and flexible and easy to use. So really guys, it is completely up to you which one you decide to go for. A canister filter or a sump, it's just all personal preference and also what suits your system best. So guys, I hope this video has been helpful and a little bit informative so that you can now go away and make a decision whether it's better to go for a canister filter or it's better to choose a sump for your system. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching and I'll catch you all later.